In this video, I'm going to give you the March whitetail checklist and everything that you need to be doing out in the woods this month for whitetails. So we're getting into March, and it's March 4th right now, and so I'm shooting a couple videos today and just showing you what I'm going to be doing on my property this year for the habitat. And so habitat season's coming around really quick, and so we're going to be planting some switchgrass, planting some trees and other shrubs like that. But for right now, just the March whitetail checklist, and that's what, it's not necessarily going to apply to you, it's what I'm doing on my property this year. And so hopefully that you can kind of go off of that and do some of the things that I'm doing, and it might help your property as well as you're doing your other things on your property. But I'm going to be doing these on my property this year and just bringing that to you guys as well. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing in March is shed hunting. And so here we're in a big agricultural setting, and so there's no deer on my property really right now, because since we have so many ag fields, they're all taken out, they're all disked in. We have very little cover right now, so those deer have gone to their winter ranges, and they'll be back here in probably a couple weeks back on my property. But I saw a couple deer tracks in here. I got a camera set up, but they're not here right now because of the second whitetail shift, and I have a video on that. It goes in detail of what that is, and if the same thing happens to you on your property, it's because you have low cover and you need to upgrade that cover, which is what we're going to be doing this year. And so it's just really hard to grow all that stuff really quick and have the deer on your property during the winter. So hopefully in a couple of years we'll have them on our property during the winter, but for right now we're not going to have them because we're still trying to upgrade that cover. But right now is shed season, and I have a property that I go to 20 minutes north of here, and I shed hunt a lot there. There's a lot of nice deer there, so I'm going to be shed hunting there in probably next week and just seeing if we can find any sheds. And when I'm shed hunting, I'm not only looking for sheds. Most of the time I find myself looking just at the lay of the land, new tree stand setups, new climber stand setups, and sometimes I kind of forget that I'm actually looking for sheds. But you can all do it at the same time. You can look for sheds, and that's not the only thing that I'm doing when I'm out in the woods. I'm looking around, I'm looking at the trees, I'm looking at what I can do to this particular spot. So shed season, shed hunting is number one on March checklist. And then number two is switchgrass preparation. And it could be buying seed, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you already have your seed, but make sure you get your switchgrass seed, make sure you have enough weed killer for that, make sure you just have the seed in general. And so we're going to be cutting, mowing around the food plot just over here, probably 100 yards away. We're going to be mowing around the food plot, the backside, and we're going to be putting a switchgrass screen up in there. And so we have another screen up in the front of the food plot. So we're going to have a total screen by the end of this year all the way around the food plot, and I'm really looking forward to that. So in March, we're going to be, in just a couple weeks hopefully, maybe next week, we're going to be cutting out right around here with the brush hog and the tractor. We're going to be cutting this out and that screen, and I'm just going to be showing you how to set that screen up. But that's something that we're going to be doing in the month of March right now, and I'm going to be cutting that out, planting switchgrass there. Not in March, I'm going to be planting that in late April, the switchgrass and the springs. But we don't need to worry about the springs and switchgrass right now. Just make sure that your seed bed is prepped for this upcoming spring growing season, and I'll go into detail of how to plant switchgrass in probably another video. But that's what we're going to be doing to the food plot this year, is that. And then third thing on the March whitetail checklist is identifying stand locations. And so here on this property, there's very defined movement. I know exactly where. There's only little bit of space where the deer can move on my property, very little space, and that's why we're trying to upgrade this cover so we can put more tree stand locations. We can do all this, and so that'll take some time. And right now I'm not looking for tree stand locations on this property, on my home property, because there's very little trees to pick from. The deer aren't even here right now because of the second whitetail shift, so there's really no point in me searching out for a new tree stand location because I can't even see that winter movement. And so I only look for tree stand locations on this property during the summertime, during getting into September, August mainly. That's when I usually set up my tree stands, is August. But in big wood settings where most of you will probably be at, and the property that I hunt 20 minutes north of here, this is a great time right now with all the leaves off the trees. Scouting's really good right now, and making sure you're finding those tree stand locations is really important right now as well, because you can see without the trees, you're going to see what it's going to look like with all the vegetation gone this season. And so in just probably 8 or 9 months, you'll be able to hunt that spot, and you'll see what it's like. You can see that it's open enough to put a tree stand there. You'll have plenty of shot opportunities. So that's really good to find tree stand locations right now during the month of March. And then another good thing to do is scouting, and I've been doing a ton of scouting right now. Hopefully bringing some more scouting videos to you guys next week. But I've been scouting out with the drone, scouting out this different properties, and I'm going to be doing some videos on scouting with drones here probably next week as well. And so probably going to do a kind of a mix of that videos, drone scouting and regular scouting as well. But scouting in general right now during the month of March is really good. You can find where all the deer sign is. You can find good tree stand locations, and just really excited to be able to get back at that strategy change, just strategizing for the next season. And so that's going to be coming up in the month of March as well. And so that's pretty much it. That's kind of what I'm doing on my property this year. I'm not going to be doing much else. Also, I'll be marking out, just make sure you're putting stakes in the ground where you're going to be able to plant, so that way you know where you're going to be able to plant at if the vegetation comes up. And we mow this pasture down too. We get round bales from that for horses and such. But we're going to make sure that the tractors don't hit any of the switchgrass. So I put T-posts right by my switchgrass because I want that switchgrass on the edge to provide a screen. So that switchgrass is right here, and so I don't want that tractor, that brush hog, mowing any of my switchgrass or hitting the stakes. So I put those stakes in the ground, then I wrap orange marking tape around it, so that way the driver will know that there's plantings right here. I don't want them to go any further into the woods. So, and that'll also help them not to come too close into the woods and crush the screen as well. So make sure you're marking where you're going to be planting, make sure you're prepped for planting, make sure you're scouting, and just make sure that you're getting all the things ready for this habitat season. I've already got food plot seed. I ordered that in January for this year. So I'm going to have a really good food plot this year, Lord willing, and I've got a lot of good seed that I was able to get. So I'm running one camera right now, so you can run. I don't run all my cameras during hunting season. I run a lot of them, but I probably run 5 out of 6 cameras during the hunting season, and then after hunting season, that one camera that I did not run, I put back up right now, and so that's in the micro food plot right now. It's more like a travel corridor right now because there's nothing growing in it. But I have that set up, so hopefully we'll get some more deer movement. Those trail cameras are really important, and that's another point for the March deer checklist. If you have the second whitetail shift happening on your property where you're not seeing deer during the winter time like we are right now, those deer will be coming back really soon. So make sure you put those cameras out so that way you can tell and you'll know when those deer start coming back and flowing back into your property. Since like I said, I have a more in-detailed video on what the second whitetail shift is. If you want to look that up, it's in my channel. So make sure you're setting those trail cameras out so that way you know when the deer are coming back onto your property after the second whitetail shift. And then they'll stay here throughout. If you're not trying to keep them off during the summertime, which we are, because we don't want bucks here during the summer, because they won't be back here during the fall. But if you just kept the deer on your property, they'll stay here the whole time until December, and then they're going to go back to their winter range for about 3 months till March, 4 months, and then they'll come back and use your property. So for the majority of the year, the deer will be on your property, but for that winter time, and unfortunately during the last bit of hunting season, those deer aren't going to be here. So during the last bit of the hunting season on this property, I go hunt the property 20 minutes north of here, because there's no point in hunting this property because the deer aren't here. They're in their winter ranges. So just make sure you're getting ready for habitat season. You got your trail camera set up, you got your seed ready, because it's going to be coming really fast, and hopefully we can get a lot of this stuff done here in just a couple months. So that's the March whitetail checklist, and we'll see how that all affects this season and how it'll affect our hunt this fall.